Latham, and I'm a co-coordinator of this project. It's the IRC, Transition Greensboro Edible Community Garden. And the IRC is where we're at, Interactive Resource Center. Transition Greensboro is actually, it's an international initiative. It's part of an international initiative that looks at community resilience. We just had a really wonderful assortment of different kinds of people here working together, working alongside each other. We had professors from UNCG, we had students from UNCG, we had a couple students from Guilford College, and several community activists. So it was just this wonderful barn raising day, and that was the beginning of the garden. And so we started out in the front, and then as we continued, we observed as we went along, and we learned from the environment, and from the rain, and from where the sun was, and that kind of thing. Now, every step of the way, we had Charlie Headington, who is a permaculture guru. He's just so incredibly experienced in permaculture. He's been doing it for 20 years, so way before anybody started to talk about it as part of the sustainability movement. And what I really like about permaculture principles is that it's a set of ideas that go together. It's integrated. You don't just look at, it's not one design approach or one technique or whatever. It's a whole system of ideas that go together. Permaculture is the design glue that puts the idea of sustainability into practice. So part of what's really important about that is it's the practice. It's not an abstract idea, it's the practice. And so it's working and going along and understanding as we practice, as we put ideas into practice, what works and what doesn't work. And it's also very much about all living things. A lot of people still think of sustainability as just about agriculture and the earth, but it's really about people too. The project started when we just sat down with Liz Seymour, the director, and she was interested in planting an edible garden, and so were we. And so we had a big work day. We were able to get people from the community to come in.
To me, the thing that the IRC does best in all regards is build relationships and build community, and give people an opportunity to be themselves beyond just the situation they're in right now.
Mm-hmm.
And for people who would not normally necessarily cross paths with each other to find a common interest. And the garden is just so good at that. If we never get a tomato out of this
Right,
garden,
if we don't, it will.
This garden has grown so much community.
It has.
I'll buy you a tomato.
All right.
I'll hide it in the garden and I'll
really,
tell you to go out.
I think that we're going to have tomatoes this year, but you know, if we don't, a lot of times, you know, we've often talked about people just needed a place to be at the IRC, maybe needed something to do when they got ready, and a lot of times we hope that everybody will look for a place to stay or look for a job if it's their choice, but a lot of times if people are looking for something to do, there's the art program, and here's the garden. I think a lot of people can get a lot out of just coming out, working in the garden some, and that's an important thing.
So what did you guys do in the side garden before we came?
Actually, that was a great opportunity for IRC clients to kind of interact with the center, to change the center itself as far as the edible garden. Clients had an opportunity to sign on as a active owner and maintainer of it's like a 4-foot raised garden. And I was granted that opportunity right here through the IRC and the Empowerment Fund. It basically consisted of me putting together, being a team from UNCG, putting together a business plan. And once the business plan was approved, then we was able to act forward on getting a loan and getting everything started. So I'm now in 2013 March, looking at my second season of Sam's Lawn Care and Gardening. And that's really overwhelming, but it's great.
You're also an artist. Do you want to mention that, or?
Yeah. Well, just so happen I am a local inspiring artist, and it's funny you should say that. That plays a lot. It plays really heavily alongside with my lawn care and gardening. I even titled myself as a lawn artist, Yeah, so it just kind of coincides as far as the vision and seeing the project through.
I think the garden has come a long way.
Oh, the garden is beautiful.
You know, we started working. Well, I never did a lot of work in the garden,
Right.
but we started. but we did start working on the garden way before we opened. You remember?
Yeah, we had
would
that
come-
gardening day.
Yeah, we would come down here and everybody would just work. Charlene Fields was coming down regular then, and all of that area over there and all of this, it was really, really awful. And the amount of work that went into it over the last 3 years, a lot of people can't imagine, but there were a lot of people out here. I think that sometimes there were 30 or 40 people out here digging and pulling weeds. I remember when So Win came down and would go around with the weed killer, and I remember FedEx brought down a large group of people, and
They built the
were
garden bins,
yeah,
yeah.
they built the garden bins, and it's just come a long way.
David Merritt was here from the very beginning, and David helped us figure out how things needed to be planted because he grew up on a farm.
I got involved with the program when we started doing the front garden, with our herb garden, and we had a guy that come out and he built the spiral herb garden out of stone. I was helping him, giving him rocks, he was laying them, and that was our first project right there. And the other, from the front all the way back over this way, that's where our first project was. And then we just kept growing and growing and growing until we got what you see now. We built this by hand, me and Kathy did. And what we're doing here is to make our own soil. We use like coffee grounds, dirt, leaves, any kind of vegetable you can put in it. Cause this place gets real wet because we get a lot of rain coming right into this thing. Soon we're gonna put some black plastic over it so it will really get up some heat to it. So
Is
it
the
will
heat
start really
important?
cooking.
Is the heat important when you're
Yeah.
making compost?
Yeah, it is.
We are, as a culture, so product oriented. We want to know what the goal, what's going to be the value of something, what's going to come out of it, how many bushels of tomatoes are we going to get
Yeah.
out of it. But I'm a big believer that process is as important as product, and you can't hurry a garden, and you can't hurry people either.
Right.
And the process of changing your life is one that's different for each person, and it's on a different time frame. And the garden is part of that. And so the process of coming to the IRC and reevaluating where you are, what you thought couldn't be changed about your life that you begin to think could be, and having a garden to work in. Even people who never come out and set foot in the garden know that they have that option, and that's part of the process.
I believe that.
And that's
and
really important.
I think it's. I think I can finally say the garden has changed the landscape of the IRC.
Yes, it has. Yes, it has. It most definitely
we're
has.
glad that it's here.
Part of building community resilience is to work with what we have right here already and understand what exists right here in the soil, and to work with the people and the environment to create a resilient space that will be ongoing and continue for forever.